All right, what's up, Cliff?
Never thought I'll be here.
Right.
Never thought I'll be over here. Well, thanks for inviting me over here.
You bet. I'm glad you
We
came.
talked about this for a while, and we're talking about what you do and how things in a different aspects on what happens when people come to town that work for the energy company.
Yeah.
And work for the windmills and stuff. For you guys that don't know, I own the Doghouse Saloon and Savannah's Old Town Saloon. So when you guys ever make it up to Tehachapi, right, I am the owner that you got to deal with.
Well, outside of family and friends, renewable energy might be my first love, but bars are kind of right behind it.
Well,
And it's because maybe I started off in life as traveling tech in my young days. And the truth is, when you travel around, that's the place where you can go and decompress and maybe meet other guys working and traveling and, have some social life.
and that's what happens. You ended up going to work, or if you're going to school, you're up here for 6 weeks. Or if you're working up here in Tehachapi, if you're not at the apartment or at the hotel, you're at Savannah's or the Doghouse if you're in Tehachapi, California.
That's it.
Right? So there's a lot that goes on. This is going to be the greatest show on earth right here. Stay tuned. We're about to get busy on real life topics about what happens here in Tehachapi.
You kind of have you kind of have your own podcast kind of thing going on. Facebook?
Yeah, Cliff's Classics.
Cliff's Classics.
13 years in a row. Up good and bad.
Yeah.
Most of the time bad.
That's the time bad.
No, there's a lot of good. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good. There's a lot of things that positive that come out of Cliff's Classics, but we don't play around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, Cliff's Classics. I think. Well, first, I'll come back to it. But what I've noticed is, the bad. You talk about the bad, but the way I looked at it, or at least the way I hear you come across to me when I listen, is that your bars are your business, and then you treat them like it's your living room. And in my opinion, when somebody makes a mess, breaks something, you take it very personal.
Well, I'm 56 years old. I'm old school, right? I believe then there's consequences, which not just me, but this country is forgotten about, right? Mm-hmm. I think you should be held responsible for your actions. And I'm one of them old time guys, right, that if you're going to cause a scene or play around or mess around, right, and think this is your backyard of your house, right, where you could do whatever you want, it doesn't work that way. You're in a small town. I try to keep the peace between everybody.
Yeah.
And that's the way I run my company, right? Just like you would never go to another place of business or any wind school or any place, right, that they work at and act like a fool.
Well, if you do, you probably aren't going to have a job there any longer.
and this
I get it.
Yeah, and this is what the topic's about is about what you shouldn't do when you come to town or when you go to any town in all across the United States or even foreign countries, right, where you should not be playing around.
What you shouldn't do. I want to get into that. I'm going to pause you for a second, though. Why don't you tell us when did you open Doghouse? When did you open Savannah? Let us know a little more about you.
Okay, so my name's Cliff Suazo, right? I opened up the Doghouse in 2011, August 18th. It was Mountain Festival weekend. That's when I opened up Savannah's. The Doghouse.
Doghouse.
Savannah's Old Town Saloon, December 9th, will be our 10-year anniversary.
December 9th, 14.
Yeah.
Okay. I love these places. When I moved back to, my wife and our kids moved back to Tehachapi 2015, Doghouse was here and one of our first stops. We loved it. And when Steph and I, with kids were still at home, but when we had the Friday night or Saturday night to get out, Doghouse was always one of the stops. It was either a stop before dinner or a stop after dinner.
I remember you doing the Macarena once or twice,
Yeah, I have issue with your cameras. I'm taking issue with your cameras. Oh my goodness. That we're gonna have to make sure
we'll talk about that later. Yeah,
come out right. That's fantastic. Well, but my wife and I loved it. It was it was wonderful. And then, we saw a few things change. It got a little smaller in the square footage, but that didn't slow you down. You went to the county area, you acquired a new location, and built Savannah's.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Doghouse was a big place, and I had to downsize a little bit. It was over politics.
Okay.
And I don't want to really get into that, but we ended up purchasing the pub, Mountain Pub Brewing.
Oh, that was the prior name.
Yeah, and
Okay.
before that, it was called South Fork. And a matter of fact, I'm down to my last 4 payments at Savannah's.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and I did
big
all
deal.
this during COVID.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a whole different subject right there, despite itself. But let me tell you, it was really hard to get where I'm at now. 10 years and 14 years, and my wife owned a bar called The Greatest. And I ran a bar called the Old Shack. So there's probably about like 50, 60 years of experience there.
Where were these at?
The bar was the Greatest in Hawthorne, California.
Okay.
And so was the Old Shack was in Hawthorne.
Okay. Wow. See, I was going to ask what drove you to opening these in Tehachapi.
I worked for the oil company. I worked for Paramount Petroleum.
Was this Bakersfield or?
I worked in Bakersfield.
Okay.
But it was on Paramount was owned by a guy named Gene, if I remember. It's there in Mojave.
Okay.
You know where the 4 big tanks are?
Mm-hmm.
When you come out, it was an asphalt plant.
Okay.
And then I used to travel around just like you guys do
Sure.
to different refineries, making sure that everything was going good.
See, look at that. You got an energy background.
Yeah, I did.
That's 1 degree of separation right there from renewables.
Yeah, so I have that. All that 15 freeway came out of my plant.
Holy moly. Okay.
Yeah, so I've been in this. But to get back to your question about the Doghouse, while I opened it up, I was working in the fields there, and I was cleaning out the water softener tanks,
Okay.
and I ended up getting 4 stents in my lungs.
Oh.
And so I had plugs in here. So I knew I couldn't do it no more because physically I couldn't do it. And I was a lot skinnier back there, but I was coughing up a lot of blood.
Boy.
So I decided I had to have a escape route because I had 4 boys and a daughter named Savannah after the bar.
Oh, beautiful.
And so I figured that I couldn't do it no more. So I decided I'm going to have to figure out another way to support my family. And that's how the Doghouse became. And that's ended up opening the Doghouse on a $100 bet against, remember when the Red Caboose was in business?
Yes. That's in the way back machine of my
Yeah, Jesse
brain.
and Maria.
Okay.
They used to be the old bowling alley right here on the boulevard.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I owned everything in there.
It
Everything.
doesn't exist anymore, does it?
No. That's where they have the hotel, at the new hotel right there on the boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how long I've been in here in town. That's
Okay.
been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. I think on a local now.
Well, what year did you move here? I mean, this was early
it was
2000s.
20 years ago.
Okay.
20 years ago.
Early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had to do a escape route from the oil refinery because I knew physically I couldn't do it no more.
Career change.
So I decided I was going to open up a bar, and it wasn't a very good idea being married because my wife was in the business and everything, and she's like, "Here we go again. I don't want to go through this shit again," and that's what ended up happening. Well, I said I'm going to do it anyways. Well, here I am now.
You had to take care of your family.
Yeah, I didn't
Life
have
changed it. You got a health concern. You had to take care of your family. Here's where you live. Here's an industry you knew.
that I knew, and I was
You knew
willing
the
to.
bartending industry.
But I got to tell you, that first day I was open was August 18th, right? I made $500. I thought I was going to be a rich man, right? Was I wrong about that living in California? Jesus Christ, right? We don't even want to get started with Governor Newsom. That's a whole different ballgame.
No, it's not a political show.
I know, but I got to tell you, right? That's a whole different ballgame, right? But I got to tell you, having a business in California is very hard. And it's hard to make it because they do everything in the world against you, not to work with you. And that's just the way it is. So there's been a lot of businesses in California, that bars and restaurants that didn't make it through the pandemic, and
Yeah.
there was probably about like 400,000 businesses and restaurants that left California or closed down. So
I've heard that number somewhere. Yeah,
so
the lockdown was tough.
yeah. So to have a business in California and survive, you're really going to take care of your business, because you ain't going to let nobody disrespect it, right? Because you've been through hell and back, and you won't let nothing fall. Because if you get rid of the person, if you have employees, the one that's not putting 100% in, that's the person you get rid of. You have to survive because it makes everybody else better.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
No, I get it. And I spent most of my career at arguably one of the best companies in the planet, and it was tough because everybody's tough on each other. That's how that business continues to get better. I get it.
100%.
I get it.
So here we are in Tehachapi, California, right? And for a lot of you guys that don't know, Tehachapi is probably one of the wind solars in the United States, right?
We call it the birthplace of wind in the United States.
Right. I think there's the only thing that's bigger than here is Palm Springs, right?
Well, there are places that are bigger than here in terms of how much energy or how many wind turbines, but this is where wind turbines started in the early 80s in this country.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because I always thought Palm Springs growing back up when we had spring break. I always thought that was
No.
back in the old days, you know.
Sure.
I mean, that's how long wind school's been around, because I remember seeing that back in the it had to be in the 90s.
Okay, sure.
So that's how long it's been around for.
Yeah, Palm Springs and that North Palm Springs corridor between the two mountains where the main road comes in, where we would drive from here to there, is one of the heaviest wind tunnels in the country. So in the 80s and 90s, when you were designing new wind turbines and blades, you wanted to go there and test your equipment to see if it was running and put the sights up. So much wind there. The power is amazing. You don't see a whole lot more because now we know so much more about wind across the country, where there's more stable wind. It's steady. It's not sandblasting your equipment while it's out there running. But yeah, back in the early days, Palm Springs was the area you wanted to be.
Yeah, it's funny how you have a lot of people that don't know about wind turbines, and they get up here and they say, "Why is it so windy?" I said, "Well, we have the fans on."
I made a joke about the big fans.
They don't have no concept that
that's right.
You know,
it's hot here. We're cooling it down.
Yeah, we're cooling it down. There's a little wind action, right?
You get it.
It's kind of funny, right? That people are still blind to what really happens out there for energy.
You know a thing or two about wind. I was just making that joke. Yeah. So hot. Go put the fans up.
Yeah.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, Altair Energy Services, and their highly trained, expert technical staff, leveraging decades of renewable power management experience into customized solutions for everyone to meet their energy goals and contribute to a better future for all. Altair's team of hardworking, respected experts are providing full-scope, turnkey repairs, planned and unplanned maintenance, system upgrades, fully autonomous technical crews, supplemental staffing, and customized dynamic scheduling to fit your power production needs. Contact Altair at info@altairenergyservices.com and learn more about their wide range of capabilities across multiple power technologies and platforms. I didn't know these things about you, Cliff. Known you a while.
Yeah,
but,
I have four boys, one girl. That's why we named Savannah's the bar Savannah's. For my kids, my oldest son works right here in town. He works for the junior high.
Wow, nice.
He's a counselor.
Okay.
And then my second oldest son, his name's Devin. He runs all the nursing schools from here to Florida. Yeah, he started off as a secretary, and he's now the CEO of the company.
How proud are you?
I'm very
You're
proud.
doing amazing.
Right. And then my third son is getting ready to graduate nursing school.
Oh my goodness.
Become a RN. And then I got my son that works for the fire department. His name's Nicholas. And then I got my Savannah that just graduated college.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Cliff.
So it's hard. Let me tell you, life is really, really hard. You know,
You
maybe
mean like parenting's not easy?
nothing's easy, man.
Yeah.
Nothing's easy in California, right? But
Well,
I tell you, it takes a strong woman behind your back to make dreams happen. You know, and to move the ball forward. You know what I
right.
mean? Because next thing you know, it's easy to get caught up in a mess.
That's right.
It's easy. So all you want is the best for not just for Tehachapi, right? Not just for your kids, right? A lot of people and probably don't realize this in Tehachapi, California. Living here and having the town the way it is, a lot of business is done at the bars.
I believe it.
You know what I mean? Everybody meets at the bar. I remember when I first had the Doghouse. Remember Blattner?
Company? Yeah.
Yeah, Blattner. Well,
Sure.
Dick Blattner, that owned Dick.
I don't know him,
Well,
but
he was a good friend of mine.
okay.
And his daughter and all the group, they drank Crown Royal, right?
Okay.
They were really good people. You didn't know who they was. This was 13 years ago,
Okay.
and they're a really good group of people that came in, right? So you never knew who you sat by. It's especially starting out in Tehachapi before the wind schools all started really going 100%, right? And that started to happen. And then you had people that you were sitting at the bar and you didn't realize who you were sitting by. You don't know if it's a
Sure.
owner of a company or a manager or somebody that's going to hire you, and you're over here acting like a badass, and you don't even know that you're sitting over here by a guy that owns a multi-billion-dollar company,
Right.
right? And you're over here acting like a jack,
Right.
right? So
True.
just a word of advice out there, people, right? If you come to Tehachapi, right, be very careful on who you sit by, right? And act like you're, let me tell you, just because you're 21, you're allowed to drink, but you got to be professional when you're sitting at a bar, especially if you're in a wind town bar where there's a lot of people there, right? Because you don't know who you're going to be working for. There's a lot of people out there that come to the bar that are big time, because this is a big time place, right?
True.
And you're sitting at the bar and you're the one that acts like an ass, right?
No, that's not a good career move.
Or that's not, because next thing you wonder, why can't I get hired?
Right.
Well, you know why you can't get hired, right? Because I made that phone call.
Mm.
You know, hey, this guy's being an ass. You know what I mean? And there's also been other times where people put a good impression on me that I have made the phone call. Hey, I need you to hire this guy. And they got hired right there on the job, graduating right out of the wind school.
Oh, look at
You
that.
know how many times that happened?
No.
Plenty of times. But so you've got to be
So
careful.
you do go the extra mile then for the
Oh.
folks that you get to know and can help.
Oh yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what I was trying to tell you. In a small community like this, you know, a lot of you guys don't know, right? I have paid for 9 kids' funerals here in town. That kids that passed away out of my own pocket. I had donated over $250,000 to this town in a lot of different ways. People need breaks in life, especially what we've been through here, and especially in California, right? So you take care of them that take care of you. But also, you got to take care of yourself. And if you take care of yourself, people are going to take care of you, you know? That's just the way it works.
Holy smokes, Cliff! What drove you to paying for these 9 funerals? Are they close? They were close to you?
There were single moms. There's different things that happen in town. You know, you got to, like I tell you, there's a lot of things that happen in town that people don't see on the background side of it. And plus, I'm married, right? So what's my wife going to tell me? Hey, go over there and fix it. I don't have a choice at that time. You know, if the wife tells you fix it, right? Something's happening, you got to fix it. You
So
know.
they were friends then. You
No,
knew
I didn't know. I didn't know none of them.
How do you choose these 9? I don't understand.
It was this 9 that ended up happening here. Just go down to woods and take care of it, or wherever the funeral is, and take care of it.
Because you heard or your wife heard that
You know, everything in this town you hear.
that they needed the help.
Your wife tells you take care of it, you just take care of it, and that's just the way it is. You hear about it. You know how social media is here in Tehachapi. You could say one thing at the end of town, right? And before it gets to the other side, right? It's a whole different story. But one thing that affects me more than anything, right, is when I hear about young kids. I want everybody to do better in town. And a lot of things the city runs, right? But a lot of back deal things are done in the bar. And you are the community. So you only want better for what happens to the people in our community. And sometimes people need help. So you got to do what you have to do.
Did you know going into the bar business that was going to be part of your job? Or
because I ran a bar before, right? I did the hiring and firing, right? I didn't know to the extent that it was going to be like. And you learn as you go, and every situation's different. Because there's a lot of people on social media here that talk a lot of shit. And them are the same people that I still help. And then they change their mind because they heard bad things about, because nobody's ever wrong in the bar business. People get kicked out all the time. This right here is my 86 book I brought, right? I'm going to bring it up.
We're going to look at it in a minute. Give me 1 second. This 9 funerals, this hit me. And Francine she's clearly the warrior in the family to figure that out, and then tells you to go to work and fix it, as you put it.
That's what she tells me.
I love that. Well,
you know what I mean?
Big thank you to your wife.
Yeah.
Big thank you from the town. And I didn't know about the 9 funerals. I do know about, I always see a donation bucket for some cause or an event where you might bring in a band and some food and advertise, and it's a fundraiser for. I know about those things. Well, the few, once in a while when I'm there, but I didn't know about the funerals, and I don't know, what's I want to ask it again, because it's not just the funerals, it's also the fundraising for people, for organizations. What's driving you there?
I'm a dad. And me and my wife, when we didn't have nothing, and I knew what it was like to run out of gas on the 58 freeway and have to call my buddy if then I don't have enough gas to get back home. And looking underneath that seat, looking underneath the couch, right, to make sure that sometimes I would go without eating. And the guys would be eating at work, and I didn't have nothing. And I would run out of gas, and I had to wait for somebody to pick me up. So I was that parent that didn't have shit. Me and my wife. So I know what it's like to have nothing. And I can't see somebody that's willing, that if I have a little bit more to help out, I don't mind helping out, because I know what it's like, because I was that parent.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
You lived it.
Again, I had 8 brothers and 4 sisters, and I just found another brother named Mark, right?
Wow.
But I was raised by that family that was raised on poor food, of Velveeta cheese. I didn't eat cheese for a long time out of the brick. I was raised on pop beans, when you have nothing, you have nothing. And to be where I'm at now, it was only by the grace of God that I am where I am now. Because without my wife and without God, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. And I don't mind doing it, because it's not about the money. Sometimes it's about what's in your heart to take care of it. As long as my family's taken care of and my wife's taken care of, that's all that matters in life. The rest of it does not matter. So you help out the ones you can, and that's just the way it is, and that's what I believe in.
That's one hell of an answer.
You know what I mean?
That's one hell of an answer. Holy smokes. All right. I'm going to get off of the sappy stuff for a minute and just thank you for what you're doing. And I never knew this side of you. I don't know, maybe some, how many don't or do, but I love that you're out here sharing this story with us, because, well, shit. I mean, we got a lot of technicians and renewable people that run through this town, and they all know your bars, and they all know you, or of you, maybe of you. And I'm going to let you get to your 86 book, which, if there's a picture of me doing the Macarena, this podcast is over.
This ain't a book about doing the Macarena.
All right. take this time to thank another one of our wonderful sponsors, Podge Engineering. Podge Engineering, making wind and solar all we know it can be. Are your renewable energy assets underperforming or not performing at all? Did you expect many years of longevity and they're failing on you now? Podge LLC offers many customized, engineered products and solutions to get these assets back on track. Podge Engineering also performs root cause analysis, engineering services, procurement, and construction. Visit podge.org. That's PADGE.org. Remember Podge, making wind and solar all we know it can be.
Well, let me tell you, out there, and you come to Tehachapi, you go to anywhere in the United States, right? There's a lot of small towns like Tehachapi, and the last thing a bar needs is attention from the cops, or they don't want you don't want the trouble. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So for a long time that I have, for probably the last year, I have 86, the whole windmill school. You know, and we talked about this. That's why
this one bothers me a lot. So I keep asking about it.
Right, and here we are here now. So Allie started letting them back in.
She told me.
Yeah, and we just had one of the best wind school from the that stay up here for 6 weeks. What is that? Airstream.
Yeah.
We had one of the best respecting class ever in the 13 years that we've been in business. They were the most respectful, right? Okay. And they took care of Allie, and Allie felt comfortable. But, you know, you get tired of being that bad person, right? You come into town, you want them to be good and be respectful of the town because
sure,
you're representing the school, and you're representing the people that you're going to be working for, and you might not know who you run into, right? Mm-hmm. So there's no reason to be a fool, you know. So here,
I don't know that they always know that, right? And most of these, most of those students, they come out straight out of the military. They use their GI Bill, and they go straight from the military, and they show up here, and they live out there. There's dorms at that school.
It's a beautiful school.
It's gorgeous. They live there. It's a
cafeteria
program, cafeteria. Yeah, little gym. You know, not a whole lot to do.
There ain't nothing to do out there.
It's nicer. I think I said it nicer. And you know, they want to get into town, right? They're transitioning their life. You know, and they're transitioning their life from military life into civilian. And that school does, you know, such a fantastic job. I don't want to go into it, but you could do studies about people transitioning from the military life and job into the civilian world. And you'll read about a lot of bad stories, and you'll read about some PTSD. You'll read about some of the struggles that they go through. A program like Airstreams, you know, it talks about how many students go through. It talks about its job placement rate, which I think is about 86%, by the way. And for a school,
that's good.
Amazing. They find them jobs. That's what they end up with. But I don't know if they talk about a whole lot, the reduction in PTSD because of this gradual transition. And so I just want to share that bit. It takes care of not just teaching, not just job placement at I think 86%, but it also takes care of the mental and emotional health of a lot of people.
Absolutely right. Let's talk about something else, right?
Sure.
With same subject.
Okay.
Same subject. Let's talk about kids that go to the wind school.
Sure.
Come out, right? They go out to the bar. I'm going to tell you about a couple of situations why you should be respectful in town.
Okay.
Because one time the kids were out there fighting before they had to school. They're at apartments. You know, they used to put them out of apartments.
Right.
They used to do all that. Remember back in the old days?
Yeah, they were,
They wherever they could go. And
right.
They
different location.
Right.
Yep.
Well, they were picking on this one kid. They ended up beating him up from the same wind school, right?
Mm.
And they put a whipping on this kid. Both kids ended up going to prison for 15 years.
Jeez.
Right? And the first person they did was call me. And I went over there, and, you know, that guy went, and he had some problems and he went to the hospital, and this happened in the alley over there in Golden Hills. That's not what you go to school for. You go to school to better your life.
Yep.
You got one shot to do the best you can in life, right? You don't want to throw it away on just one night of drinking. So be responsible when you come to town. Also been there when, a lot of guys come into town, right? They what's the first thing they want to do? They want to, I haven't been to California. Right? Am I lying? They want to go out. They want to have a good time. Screw everything out. Their wife's gone. If they're married, or if they're single, their wife's gone, right? What ends up happening? They end up getting involved with some lady that they shouldn't be involved in. Because all these girls in Tehachapi, right? A lot of them, right? It's only a certain amount of guys they want to deal with, right? Right? If they're not married, right? But we're talking real.
Yeah.
And they get involved in something. And next thing you know, you got wives, and one good night of going out cause you a nighttime of a years of headache.
I see where you're going at.
You understand what I'm saying?
Whether it's fighting or property damage or
meeting somebody.
Or meeting somebody, these one night or sometimes split second decisions can ruin your life.
Correct. You know what my favorite word in the Bible is?
Tell me.
What's done in the darkness will always be brought to the light.
That's a good one.
Right? Because no matter what you do, it's always going to be brought to the light. You're just missing.
Good one.
It's not because you're in the dark. You're just missing a lack of light.
Yeah.
So if you live by that, no matter what you think you're hiding, always comes forward.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Nowhere to hide.
Yeah, there's nowhere to hide, right? Especially today. We scan IDs. At the bar, we scan IDs. We have a book right here. And this right here is mind if I bring this up now?
No.
Yeah, so this right here, this is 13 years. This is how thick it is, right? And there's a lot of pictures I don't have up front right here of everybody that's been 86 from the bars from
May I?
Yeah. From a lot of people don't know, right?
See if I recognize any faces in the audience.
Oh, there's going to be plenty. There's going to be plenty. Just don't mention their names on there.
No.
I
can't believe you have pictures of all these people.
Yeah, I do, right? But let me tell you, these are people that's caused problems, but this also not people that's been to the bar either.
What do you mean?
If you're on Megan's Law,
you're
not allowed to come in the bar. I get the reports here in town, if you get caught for methamphetamine, drugs, or get caught breaking in the house, these are all people in here too. They're on my scanner.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So when you get scanned at the door, it pops up. Guy running the door.
Yep.
Okay.
It pops up and it goes right to both bars.
Okay.
So, but that's the kind of business I like to keep clean. You know what I mean? So if you're a good guy and if you're a good girl, you're welcome to come in and enjoy yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Drinking's never an excuse to be a dick.
No.
But how many times does it happen? Most of the time it's women starting to get the guys going. You know what I mean? They get jealous or this and that. Some other guy's trying to pick up, they don't know. You know how it is. It's something, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I got to be the dad.
Yeah.
It gets overwhelming sometimes. It's stressful.
Sure, I bet.
It's stressful. It's stressful, especially when they come in every 6 weeks. It could get real stressful. When they get out of the service, it could get real stressful. Everything.
Well, I can. It's clear that you take it to heart. I mean, even in your book, if you're checking out laws and you're trying to keep, the clientele that you don't want in there, and I agree with those rules, by the way, and you're going to that extra mile to make sure they don't come in, and then you are taking it to heart, right? I've heard your story. I had a health issue. I had a family to take care of. I had to change my career. And I had to make this investment, and my wife's worried.
I didn't even do an investment. I did it paycheck to paycheck.
Well, no, but I mean, still investing in a business is,
But when I opened up the Doghouse, it was $100 bet. against the Red House caboose. I owned everything in there.
Oh, okay.
You know, so it was $100 best. My health was going down, and it was 100. I never got paid, and 6 months later, I opened up the Doghouse.
Gotcha.
It was this. It was a.
Well, you're still clearly. It seems that you're taking this to heart. It's
very much.
It's
so.
a personal venture as well, right?
Yeah.
That you take to heart. So, all right. So you sometimes feel like a dad.
Yeah. Well, I always feel like I'm the dad.
Yeah. But at work too, I get that. As the older I get, the more I feel like a dad all day long, no matter where I'm at.
It's about putting out fires. Every day there's a fire to put out. No matter if it's on social media, no matter if it's at the bar, if something's broken down, it's always a fire to put out. Sure. My job is 99% of the time putting out fires and hoping that the next week I make it to the next week. It's always about putting out fires and hope. And I don't fall asleep to 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning when I find out the bartenders left the bar. And I make sure that the alarm's set, and I see them walking out of their car. And I have Tom and Richard help out, making sure they're closed up, making sure there's nobody around. It's non-constant worrying about what's happening.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is.
It gets a little more. There's more risk late at night too.
It is. It
yeah,
is. I seen it all.
I believe it.
I seen it all. I seen the good. I seen the bad. I seen people get their jobs right on the spot. I seen people lose jobs right on the spot. I seen them that never get a job. I seen it all. But, you know, all you want is them to realize when they come into town, you're here for one thing, to graduate. You're here to get a job and start your life out. Remember what the goal is. The goal is all about moving forward. Don't let 6 weeks because you're out of town and you think that you're invincible ruin it for everybody else. Do what you have to do for yourself. Move the ball forward. Every day you have to move the ball forward. You drop that ball, pick it up, run. But they forget. Move the ball forward. Keep it running. Because let me tell you one thing. You're going to be old one day. I'm 56. I'm going to be 57, right? I thought I was going to be dead a long time ago. I had there was 12 of us friends together, right? 6 of them already dead. I didn't think I was going to make it this long. Then when you realize that you can make it this long, you're like, what the shit, Jesus Christ. Now how am I going to take care of the rest of my life when I'm an old man? Let me tell you, that happens. And you wake up one day, you realize, man, I'm going to be an old man one day. By then, it's too late. So work your ass up, do all you can, get as high as you can, and save a lot of money, invest money in crypto, and keep on moving the ball.
Let's thank our friends over at Renew Safety, your proactive partner in safety solutions. With comprehensive safety consulting, ensuring compliance with all safety regulations and standards. Expert staffing solutions, providing trained safety professionals tailored to your project's needs. Commitment to sustainability, promoting a safe and sustainable working environment. Contact Renew Safety at info@renewsafety.com and speak to one of their industry experts about their proven track record for safety management on numerous projects. Or perhaps you're looking for construction, safety staffing, contractor monitoring, incident investigation, or program development and training. Check out Renew Safety at renewsafety.com. So did I hear when you were a younger man, you weren't really making decisions and planning for the long term then?
Nobody, who does?
Well, I did.
Well, you let me tell you.
I fell in love, got married early, and had kids. Like I didn't.
You wasn't raised in Lenox.
I wasn't raised in Lenox. All right.
You know, for a lot of you guys that don't know Lenox, California, just look it up.
Yeah.
You know, I was one of the kids that were locked up a lot of times in life, right? I was locked up lots of times. You know, it doesn't mean the world ends. It just means you got to pick yourself up and keep on moving till you make it.
So living that, knowing that, do you sometimes look at the young men and women that come in
Oh,
and have some fear about them making a bad decision and kind of knowing what will come next in their life?
one thing drinking's not an excuse to be a dick.
Mm-hmm.
And don't let one night ruin your whole life. I seen
Good
that
advice.
happens all the time. They go in there and make the bad choice, the bad decisions, right? And they ruin their whole life. Don't drink and drive. Be responsible. If you guys are going out as a group and they're from the wind school or anywhere else, have somebody a designated driver. Be responsible. Take a taxi. Don't let something like a night out ruin your whole life. You know, because it's not like back in my days, you got busted for a DUI, right? I don't have no money. They throw you in jail for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it's over and done with, right? Now you get busted, it's over $15,000.
Whoa.
It's expensive, right? And that's on your record for a long time. Then you got to do insurance, extra insurance, and all that stuff, right? And then you're going to try to get hired onto a company, and what ends up happening? Well, you got a DUI. I ain't going to hire you. Be responsible. You get out of the service, you come here, bust your ass, take care of your number one thing. They're paying a lot of money for you to go to school. So why would you screw it up? Stay focused. That's all you have to do is stay focused, finish up what you have to do, and move on with your life. Don't let one night screw up everything.
This is great advice. Fantastic advice. No matter who you are, any young people. And, I know you talk about the students a lot because you see a lot of churn there, but in the industry, it's technicians travel. I mean, a lot of companies, it's 100% travel. It was, I don't remember how many years I traveled. I think 2 full-time, maybe a little more part-time after that. But my career was never immune to it. I mean, even through promoting, I was probably gone a week every 5th or 6th on the low end. This industry demands a lot of people moving around the country, and coming in and out of Tehachapi is almost a spot where most technicians hit one time or another. We got a lot going on. There's several big companies here.
Let's talk about the people that come to town that's never been here, and they end up falling in love with Tehachapi.
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
You know how many people I have that's worked in the wind school that actually say, man, I want to move my family up here.
Tell me,
I mean,
is it a good number?
I would say probably about like more than half the people I have met that actually love Tehachapi, that's actually moved up here, and they were from whatever state they were from. Most of them from Texas, right? And Texas ain't all cracked up to be what it is. Just want to throw that out there. Right? I'm not saying California is either, but that fell in love with this place. Because the hospitality here in Tehachapi is something you don't see in the United States. Tehachapi is its own gym. You live here, I live here, and I'm not just saying that because I have businesses here. You know, Tehachapi, if something happens here, Tehachapi takes care of Tehachapi, and we take care of our own. We might not like each other. Everybody can hate each other. But I tell you, something happens, Tehachapi sticks together.
That's true.
That's just the way we roll.
That's true.
And so a lot of communities don't have what we have. And that's that bonding to take care of our town. And that's what it's about.
I love everything you said about it. And it's the reason I'm still here, my family. And I don't like talking up Tehachapi too much on this thing. Everybody's going to end up moving here. But I've traveled
Make sure you behave when you come to the Doghouse or Savannah.
I've traveled my whole life. I don't know how many countries, 24, 25, been most of the states. And this is my favorite. I mean, California is my favorite. It's the geography that I'm in love with. And it's the people I'm in love with. And Tehachapi seems to be the primo spot, the foothills of the Sierra Nevadas where you can bail off either side. And it's an amazing place. So the other piece, okay, so I guess you don't know, being the birth basin or what do you call it, the birthplace of wind in this country, in the early 80s when some of the first turbines came in. And it's grown since, and it is it's brought in all of those people. So they've come through. I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, the history of it. We talk a lot about the history of wind because where you can go to Palm Springs, you can see it a little bit too. But in Tehachapi, you go drive Willow Springs and check out Oak Tree. I forget the road that goes over to Mojave, but it's like a driving museum of wind turbines. So there's wind turbines all over Texas. It's huge. And then you go up, Oklahoma and Kansas and Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, and the Dakotas. You'll see wind turbines, just oceans of them. But they're all newer ones, like this one here or something, right? You don't see the older ones that we get to see here. It's like it's just
off
a
the
museum.
58 on the left-hand side.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It's a museum.
Yeah.
Some of the other guests that have come through, to record here hadn't been to Tehachapi, and I take them for a drive, and I mean, it's just pictures, and they're just in awe. It's got that kind of special history and birthplace for renewables and wind, so it attracts a lot of wind people.
Yeah, I see. I met a lot of nice people. Met a lot of nice owners of companies. I met a lot of nice people. I can't even tell you how many people in the bar business that go to Jake's Steakhouse.
Yeah.
And then they'll come over there to Savannah's or Doghouse.
Yeah.
I mean, I have met so many people from around the world. One of them being Dick Blattner,
Right.
and his daughter and the Dick family, you know what I mean, was one of the best years I ever had at the Doghouse Saloon. A lot of nice people. And it's funny that, many people come by every year. They take vacations to Tehachapi, and they bring their wives because they wasn't able to bring them when they were working up here.
Oh,
and they
sure.
come and take vacations up there, and they say, Cliff, hey, I'm back. And I was, hey, what's up, right? What are you doing? I brought my wife up. I told her about this town. We're thinking about moving up here, right? And I said, oh, great. But that's how much they fall in love with this town. We have something that a lot of people don't have. That's a commodity of being a town.
Yeah.
A good town. For all the bad that we have, there's 10 times more good times. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. Yeah. And we don't have that much bad.
Well, Aaron Bryan's locked up.
Pardon?
Aaron Bryan's locked up.
I don't know.
Oh, Aaron Bryan's the guy that was going around breaking into places up here.
Oh,
I didn't know. So I just want to let everybody know.
Okay, that's good. Good.
Gotta give him a shout out.
Not the bad guy.
You rot.
Right. Gotta catch the bad guys, of course. Take care of the citizens. Yeah. All right, Cliff, you've I think you've kind of inspired me to ask you from the dad point of view, what do you have to say to the traveling technicians that come through and want to hang out at the bars?
Respect yourself. Respect yourself. Be responsible. Think about the future. Save your money. Remember, there's always tomorrow. Today's only today. Tomorrow's tomorrow. And you got a lifetime to live, right? Because you don't want to be one of them guys that throw it away on one night. That's all I have to say.
Man, that's powerful advice. It had nothing to do with hanging out at the bar.
No.
It had nothing to do with it.
No, you're a grown man.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, life goes by too fast not to be responsible. Take care of business first in the beginning. And when you're 55, 60, if you play your cards right, you'll be able to retire. You won't be working till you're damn 65 years old or be one of these wall greeters at Walmart or Wally World or working at Home Depot. You want to be that kind of guy, or you want to be the kind of guy that retires early? There's only two kind of people.
Is this where the motivation comes from to ban, the whole student group at the school, that you see that they're going to harm their lives? Is that part of the motivation? I mean, do you see that whole group and go, no, this is no good for you?
Yes and no. I want the best for them kids.
Okay.
I don't believe me. I want everybody to do good, but they got to respect themselves. I want every kid to succeed out there. I don't want no kid to do bad, But they also have to respect themselves, and they have to respect their elders. And just because they're out of their service and nobody has to tell you what to do, right? That's not the way to live your life. Some people are older than you, and some people don't put up with that shit. Let me tell you, there's still old man strength. You know,
right.
you around, you're gonna find out, right? That's the way it is.
I get stronger the more I age.
Yeah,
Funny.
good. I tell my son all the time that, right? There's old man strength.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, it goes back to respecting yourself, because you think you ain't gonna live forever. And let me tell you, tomorrow comes. And it keeps on coming every day. And one day you wake up and you're an old man. And do you want to be that old man that was known as a dick? Or you want to be known as that old... I'm that man anyways, because I know the bars. I'm the bad guy and the good guy.
And do you want to make it to be an old man?
I would love to retire one day.
I mean, for everyone, not you. I mean, yeah.
You got to live your life like one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be 80 years old, and you're going to want to take care of yourself. You ain't going to want nobody to take care of you. That's where you want to live.
This episode brought to you by RST Cranes. With over 30 years of experience, RST Cranes brings the industry expertise to every project. From wind turbines to solar inverters, mining operations to industrial construction, RST Cranes is your heavy lift specialist, located in Tehachapi, California, and serving the surrounding areas. Contact RST Cranes for your next project at www.rstcranes.com. From this fatherly dad point of view, how can you help the young men and women traveling in for a period of time, want to go out to the bars? How do you help them go to the bars, have a good time, not get in trouble, but not kick them out of it, not ban them from it? Like, how can you help them? You know, and I know you talk about school in every 6 weeks. I get it. So it's a lot of churn. But how can you help them to be able to go to the bar and, I don't know, make sure that they make the best decisions they can?
Before, when the school got in there, Frankie would let me know. And I used to go there and talk to the kids. I used to pull them all around and say, "You guys get in the pile. I want to talk to you." And I say, "Who's this dick?" Well, I'm that dick, right? You don't want to know me. But I want you guys to know, right? Be responsible. And I used to tell them, there's a taxi up there. One of you guys do not drink, right? Make sure you guys all get safe back to your school or wherever you guys came from, right? And be respectful to the bartender and don't give her no trouble. And so
was that not working for you?
All the classes are different. You know what I mean? They're all different. Sometimes you get kids from the hood. Sometimes you get kids from Texas. And let me tell you, the ones that you think that are going to be the most respectful, right, are the ones that came from the hood are the most respectful, right? Because they have parents that beat their ass, right? And then you got kids that come from Texas, right? That yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, right? As soon as they get drunk, they're asses, right? Yeah. That's just the way it happens, right? But you treat them all the same. Long as they respect the bartender and long as they respect your staff, right? And they be responsible, it's all good. But sometimes you get a bad seed. It sometimes
exist everywhere.
I will have to say so.
Yeah.
I will have to say so. Sure. And them are the ones that are going to have trouble in life. They make a small mistake and it costs them a lot. And they realize what they can't make it in life. They got to think over that you're only here temporary, here in town. Mm-hmm. So be responsible, because you never know who you're going to drink with. That might be your future boss.
Right.
Let me tell you one thing, right? If they're drinking Crown Royal, that's a boss. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I'm glad I don't drink Crown Royal.
But most bosses drink Crown Royal.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I think they put maple syrup in it.
I don't know what they put in it, but I just know right when the bosses walk in, you already know they're a boss. They're drinking Crown Royal.
You know, it doesn't end for them there, right? Most of them go into traveling positions. It is a nice transition from that military life into civilian life, the travel, right? To be able to move around a little bit, see a few things, you know, not just get stuck in on with a mortgage and a wife and 2.3 kids, right? You got to transition into some of these things.
And wait, hold on a second. And don't think that for a minute, right? Every bartender wants you when you're coming out to visit. You know, just throwing that out there, right? Not every bartender wants to get hooked up with somebody
A little
that's
bit.
just starting out. Just want to throw that out because, you know, they all want to get laid, right?
All right. We got Cliff's romantic dating advice.
Right. I just thrown out a big shout out to Chuck Willoughby. Just died.
Oh, okay.
You know who Chuck Willoughby? I'll be back in tune too.
Oh, that
Chuck.
sounds familiar.
The dating game.
Oh, all right. Oh, that's in the way back.
That's back in the 80s.
Yeah.
How old are you?
45.
Oh, so it's way back.
Yeah, I was watching cartoons I think,
true.
in the 80s.
Transformers and stuff.
That's right.
Okay.
All right, you lost me there with Transformers. I love Transformers. Okay, well, all right. Thanks for the dating advice. But well, that was what I was going to say. It isn't just this Tehachapi stop for those folks. For most of them, they're going to go on and make those stops in a lot of towns for months and years because they're going to end up in jobs that travel. So they're going to end up in a different Tehachapi, right?
Yep.
And it's likely a smaller town. Tehachapi and wind, you don't usually get this size of a town, it's a little bit bigger of a town next to a wind turbine site. You usually get a smaller town.
Yeah, you got to drive an hour to get to the town.
To a bigger city, right? Or as you get small towns and you get a one bar option.
Right.
Right. So even if you get, so here you might get kicked out of a bar, you might be able to find another one. There's a couple other spots.
Not here. There's only two, and I own them. You might go to the bowling alley.
Well, that's what I was thinking, right? Like there's bar.
Or you might go to,
Yeah.
or you might go to a restaurant bar.
A restaurant bar. That's what I'm
Right.
thinking of. Yeah.
You know,
So, right. I was thinking
Prime.
of the restaurant bar. Yeah.
you don't want to get stuck there on a Friday.
No. And, like, of course you do. I'm not saying anything against any of it. But, well, the VFW might be.
Well, it's a whole different ball games.
Yeah. But they're veterans.
Yeah. Well,
So,
there's a lot of guys, though. Most of the guys that come out of the wind school are service guys, you know.
most
They get it,
of,
right.
like 90+%.
Right, and they go to the VFW up here, right?
Of course.
And I've seen a lot of times where I hear there's a fight and stuff, and they break out because
Okay.
over there, you know what I mean? And that's the most place. That's where you should be being the most respectful at.
It might be it's 90. It might be like 95+% of their students are military. So Airstreams is focused on their primary market are taking kids right from the military. So they're straight off the base and go into their school. 86% job placement. So they get they get training, they get skills, they get interviews, and they go into wind or telecom or maybe solar or battery, but wind and telecom seem to be the heavy ones. And then they're going to find more Tehachapis and more towns because they're going to travel. I think it might be like 98% military. It's almost all. So it's, the VFW might come in, but, what I've been kind of, tugging on your ear about, and I'm going to ask you now is, how do we lift the ban on that entire school?
I think we already did, though. I think Allie already did.
Allie already did.
I think she already did.
Well, thank you, Allie.
Allie, for you guys that don't know, Allie's my bartender. She's the manager at Savannah's in the Doghouse Saloon, right? And I think she already left the ban without telling me, right? And I'm not mad at her.
Sure.
But the only thing I tell her, I say, it's hard as an owner because I lose money when they act up.
Sure.
And I lose a lot of money. And they think I could lose $4,000 or $5,000 or $1,000 or $2,000 in a night if they cause a problem.
Breaking things.
Right, breaking things or fighting or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I also can make a lot of money. So sometimes you got to weigh out the good with the bad. And I wasn't willing to gamble that my safety of my employees with a bunch of kids.
Okay.
Because I got to take care of my responsibility comes with my employees first to make sure that they're taken care of. And I won't let nobody hurt them.
I love that. So, but you were telling me that you used to try and get the group together. If Frankie called, we got a group, we have a talk. So is Allie giving them the mama talk now?
Allie's laying down the law. And
Okay.
pretty Allie, right? She lays down the law, and a lot of them are going, give her that puppy eye,
This makes sense. They're going to listen to her
they're
more
gonna
than
listen
you.
to her. And plus, when she screams, it means a lot more. You know what I mean?
They're going to listen.
But as far as I know, she left at the band. Everything's going good, and everybody's being respectful. And we know who the new players are because they all walk in 10, 12, 13 at a time,
Sure. They get off at the same time. And
Right.
Yeah.
So they end up going to the bar, and there'd be when 12 guys walk in at one time. Hey, where you guys doing? Where you guys from? Well, you know where they're from.
And then we have don't make a decision to ruin your life.
Well,
Kind of chat.
Allie lays down the law and lets them know what this is about. And if you get kicked out of one, you get kicked out of the other. And plus, you don't want to see that black Mercedes rolling up to the wind school.
So what I love about it is you guys are sort of taking it on your own to invest in their lives by giving them good advice. And maybe a lay down the law, you said?
Lay down the law.
But it's giving them good advice, right?
One night of drinking, do not let it ruin your whole life.
Yeah.
Be responsible. I can't tell you. You have to be responsible.
Yeah.
You're here for a short time. Take care of it. That's it. You know what I mean? That's the basic of everything, right? Come to Tehachapi, California. Enjoy yourself just like you would in every other town. Respect everybody that's in that town because you're representing a company. You're working for a school. You're coming in. Be responsible. How would you like to be treated in your house? Would you be? If somebody came to your house and peed in your bathroom floor, right? How would you feel?
Well, they'd probably end up in my 86.
You would never invite them over again, right?
Yeah.
Right? You'd be like, that guy,
Yeah.
right? He's a dick. Right? Right?
Yeah.
So this is what this book's about.
Yeah.
You don't want to make this book.
That's what I'm saying. You treat these businesses like it is your home, like it's your living room.
It's what takes care of my kids.
Right.
Takes care of my family. Not just that. I have 14 people that work for me that I take care of their family and kids. That their only income is me. That I take care of. And not just that. What about the town? When special things they don't look at the city, they don't look at nothing. You know where they come to? They ask Cliff. They ask the Doghouse. They ask the Savannah, hey, could you help us out? They read Facebook. My wife's crying over something somebody had them, and somebody got in an accident on the freeway. They lost their family. They lost their kids, right? Who do they look for? They don't have nobody to turn around and look at. They look at you. That's what they look for. They need help.
I love what you guys are doing, and I love that you're sharing that with all of us. And clearly the town needs it and the people need it. And what you're asking for is don't damage the business. Don't damage,
responsible.
Don't risk the income to all of these people that are working here, all the people that you got to take care of, and then the folks that you get to raise a little money for once in a while and help out when there's needs somewhere in town to folks you don't even know.
Right. That's what it's all about.
That's a fair ask. You
don't ask for no more than that.
I hope Allie's got that in her introductory speech, or we'll call it her orientation.
Maybe we have to sit down and talk with her. Maybe we have when we're ready to have a part 2 about this. Maybe we could bring her in.
Well, I'd love to hear that.
You can hear the other side.
Oh, the last one I got to ask you now. Have you thought about a military discount?
Well, I think that's something we could bring up with. I think I'll discuss it with her maybe this weekend, and maybe after the first of the year, we could probably do a military discount because I believe in my military.
Yeah.
And I believe in all them young kids.
Cliff, this was fun. I wasn't quite sure how local business and renewable energy were going to fit in, but I think it's because it's Tehachapi. And you have in your own businesses here, and there are establishments where people that are traveling through for one reason or another want to go visit and frequent while they're in town. And,
we talked about this for a while.
I wasn't sure how this topic would fit, but it worked.
Well, now you know.
It worked.
You see the other side. Besides the side business and everything that goes on in the background over here, there's also another side to that whole thing.
Yeah.
There's the 8 to 10 hours over here, and I get the 8 or 10 hours when they're off work.
Sure.
That's the side I get.
Well,
get the good side. I get the side. Oh shit.
as a traveling tech, a traveling wind, person myself, I thank you for having the bars. I got to hit them when I'm going through towns. I get to go to a different town and see something else, when I travel. But I understand when people come here, and we love that when we run into a really cool bar, and yours is neat. It's got, different scenery and outdoor sitting areas.
They say it's the Buck Owens in Tehachapi. That's
you guys that one.
That's what I say.
Kind of like it.
That's the Buck Owens in Tehachapi,
like
right?
Yeah.
If you got a place to see, come up to Savannah's or Doghouse Saloon, right? Especially during the summertime, right? When we have all the
love being outside.
When everybody's outside and then the music going on and the nightclubs going on, right? It's a lot of fun, right? And
one of our favorites.
Yeah.
One of our favorites.
How many times that we have good times there?
Yeah. No, I love it. One of our favorites.
Yeah.
Those are the nights I'll grab a cigar. We call them Savannah cigar nights.
Bring me one next time.
You got it.
Yeah. I smoked a lot of cigars in my life. Recently, in the last 2 months, I had 2 of them, right? And I don't want to fall back into that habit, man, but I found myself slipping.
Oh, no.
I fell back into that Duro Fuentes.
Okay.
My favorites is Santa Rosa. Just want to throw that out there for everybody out there that wants anybody that wants me to buy me a nice box of Santa Rosa cigars.
Yeah.
20717 South Street.
That's good. Well, Cliff, I love that Allie's lifted the band and that you guys are going to continue to support traveling, renewable energy folks, students coming into school. It takes everybody in Tehachapi to kind of, it takes a village to raise the kids kind of. I think is how we end up on this one.
I don't know.
Pulled the dad.
That seems like a Hillary thing right there.
Nah, you pulled the dad speech out, so you're stepping into that role whether you like it or not.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You know how many times I gave people rides home? I can't even tell you. And I'm going to tell you what changed. Let's talk about this for a minute. Let's talk about giving people rides home.
All right.
There's been a lot of times where they couldn't get a taxi or things were busy, and they have woke me out of bed where I had to get people rides home. Mm. I probably gave over 500 rides in the last 13 years to people to get home because I didn't want them to be stuck there.
Love that.
And things change. And now it's hard. It's harder to give somebody a ride home now because you don't want to be responsible for them because everybody sues for everything. So on the different kind of politics, right?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So let's suppose you have a couple of girls that need a ride home. You got to grab a bartender out of there. You got to take somebody with you.
Oh, I see.
You understand?
Safety,
Yeah, because safety, because everybody's too happy, right? There's a lot of consequences, right? So even though you see people walking down the street on 202 and they're leaving the bar, right? And you can't give them a ride home. You want to, but you can't.
Okay.
Life has changed a lot because back when I was growing up, you see somebody walking down the road, hey, you need a ride home? You know where they came from.
Sounds like another example of you just kind of going a little above and beyond to help out people in the community.
And try.
Yeah, no, this makes sense. And it definitely fits the person who I've got to know a lot better today on this show.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate that a lot. Yeah. Appreciate you investing in the traveling kids coming through too.
Let's just make it a good year and hope everybody does good.
That's right.
For you guys that don't know, life's going to be really good this next 4 years. I look forward to it, right? I got to tell you, it's going to be a great 4 years. And let's hope to God we all make a lot of money, and let's hope everything just pops off the way it's supposed to go.
There you go.
Right? Well, that's about it, right?
Yeah.
We're going to wrap it up.
Thank you, Cliff. Appreciate you coming out.
I want to thank you for inviting me down here, and so you can see what the other side was like. Anyways, thank you very much.
I learned a lot. Thanks, Cliff.
Adios, amigos.
Adios.